Hello, thank you so much for joining me. And I'm picking up on another one of the suggestions made. And the title is, well, the suggestion was, how about the reality of aging as a woman and the helpful things you've learned along the way? So I'm happy to pick up on that one, but it's really, as I say with so many of these things, it's applicable to any gender. And there are some things specifically female biased, but bear with if I come with those. So off we go. Okay, I've been building up to this age for 77 years. So there's a lot gone into getting me from being born to the person, the being that I am now. And for me, some of the most important things were learnt early. That my mum especially taught me all of the basics, how to make a meal from next to nothing, to have a store cupboard in case of any problems. And that served me well. When I've been ill, I've always had stuff tucked away in the cupboard, in the fridge, in the freezer, that I don't have to spend ages with cooking. I've prepared meals. I've got tins of stuff that I can use. And that has served me well. And it was good old basic Lancashire cooking. Post-war, so there weren't any exotic veg or anything around. And just learning how to do things. And I've said before that I cooked my first Christmas dinner. I always said it was when I was 11. But then going through records, I realised that my granddad had died when I was 10. And he was at that dinner with my dad and myself. So honestly, I didn't kill him. He and my dad and myself, we were able to eat a meal. Neither of them could cook. They didn't know what on earth to do, so it was all down to me. I think learning those skills, as well as how to be able to sew on a button, how to iron, not that I iron very much these days, in fact, the minimum possible. There's more to life than ironing things at present. And those skills have served me. Also, how to be happy in my own company. I taught myself lots of crafts. I did some crafting courses, and one included bookbinding. And I've always loved poetry, and I've got several books. I love old books. Betjeman's poems. Can't read that label, it's too small for my eyes at present. But I love those old books. But I actually bound this book of Longfellow's poetry in leather. And I'm really pleased with the outcome. I can look at it and think, yes, well done. And I have done a little bit, but not much binding since. And these days, it really is a dying trade, except in specialised situations such as antiquarian bookshops, because it's so expensive, because it's so time consuming. But that was one of the few courses I went on. The rest I've taught myself from books usually. It was all pre-Google, how to knit, how to embroider, how to do anything that will occupy me and give me a creative output. The tatting let me down. And if you've never heard of it, you have a little shuttle and you go tuk, 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 with lots of little knots, and then you pull them and then you carry on making a kind of lace. But if you pull them not quite correctly, you end up with a knot that you cannot undo. I never succeeded in producing a finished piece of work that was beyond about that size. So I tried it. That was it. And I have had a go at other things. And some of them I thought, no, I'm too old. But no, I did it. I went scuba diving. I got my PADI certificate. I've never dived since. I was petrified, but I overcame that fear. For somebody who doesn't like their face going into water, I think I managed pretty well. So have a go. It's always good to have a go. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And that was sort of how I set up my YouTube channel. Well, I'll just give it a go. And here we are, still plodding on. But I've also learnt to say, these days with regular monotony, I have two phrases. I don't care. And that only applies if no people or animals are being adversely affected. I don't care. If I've come in and fancied going to bed at 5 o'clock at night because I'm absolutely shattered, I don't care. Snuggle up in bed with a book, with the television. The world's not going to end because I've called an end to the day. And the other one is sod it. And both of those really apply to hitting the duvet, especially in winter, on a cold night. Hitting the duvet early doors, getting snuggly and warm. Sod it rules. It really does not matter. I think we over worry about things. And I have to accept that there are many things that I have learnt and forgotten. Many, many things, considering the number of courses that I've been on. And sometimes we have to acknowledge and accept that we don't always succeed. And that my main, as I see, non-success, hate the word failure, my main non-success was at school. I didn't succeed in O-level history because in those days it was all dates and I can't do dates. But the teacher said, no point in you redoing it. You're not going to use history, so forget it. I was quite happy to do that. And the other was my master's degree, that I'd done all the taught elements, I'd done all of the attending bits, I'd done all of my research. The only thing I had to do was write it up. And that's when my world came cascading down around me. And I was given a 2-year extension. But by the end of 2 years, my research wasn't really current. And I was not in a position to redo the research or to even write up what I'd got. So I abandoned that. That's that. But most of the things I can look at and think, yes, I'm glad I did that. And that is what we need to focus on, the fact that by the time I can stop growing old, shall we say, I will be thinking of the things I've done even the things I tried and didn't complete, rather than the things that I hadn't done. Oh, should have done that. Too late for regrets then. So don't regret. Have a go at things. Have a go. Okay, so continuing with my love of poetry, and much more modern, I'm turning to Donna's gorgeous books. Excuse the pink slips, those are my reminder pages. And somebody had asked me if I would read a poem, because I haven't done one for a little while. So I'm going to finish this with a poem written by Donna in her book, I Wish I Knew. And the title of the poem is actually, I Wish I Knew. I wish I knew from the start that self-esteem is a homegrown virtue, and you must never plant those precious seeds in someone else's garden. I wish I knew at every step that all those seeds truly require in order to bloom is approval from yourself. Yes, I wish I knew way back then that self-approval is their sunlight, peace is their soil, and love is their rain. And all the other things can come and go like the seasons and the wind. I wish I knew all along that those seeds can grow so tall, so strong, and so fierce, like the most beautiful sunflowers, if the conditions are right. Or they can wither away to weed and husk if neglected. I wish I knew a lifetime ago that no matter how much of the world I scoured, I would not find a better garden than the one I could grow myself. If only I knew. And I wish for you to know this too, so you can grow and water you. So thank you to Donna. And the main thing that I've carried forward with me is learn to rely on yourself. Don't be surprised if others let you down, even if it's others that you have put a lot of time and love and caring into their being. You'll come to rely on friends, but mainly rely on you. Thank you for joining me, and no matter how many candles on your cake you have, take care. Take the very best care of yourself that you can. Bye for now. Bye.